What's going on, everybody? This is Damien Jaxxyn with the Midnight Drive, and joining me today, I have James from Kotora. Am I saying that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. How's it going, man?
I was going all right. It's my day off, so I'm just chilling at home with my dogs and my fiance.
Nice. All right. So I met you. I had to be like 2, 3 weeks ago out in Columbia, Missouri. I went out there for my birthday. You were on stage with Inimical Drive, who I initially came to go see because I knew them previously, and you were putting in work that day.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was helping out some friends of mine in Last American Cowboy. Uh, their vocalist. So they actually have two vocalists. They're twin brothers. They weren't able to make the show, so I hopped on and helped the boys out on top of the normal Kotora set. So yeah, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off that whole evening.
Yeah, I told you that day. I was like, you weren't just doing double duty. You were pulling quadruple duty.
Yeah.
But
It's
appreciate.
all for the love of the game, man. I love playing music and I love helping out my friends if I can.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Uh, like
No problem.
like most interviews, I got my list of questions, but I'll ask some questions as we talk. First question is, what got you into music?
Um, so what got me into music was so my dad would he had this like old beat up GMC like 96 truck and he had like a stack of CDs that he would just rotate. And in that rotation was the first White Zombie record.
Mm.
Um, let's see, first couple Metallica records, and I think yeah, the other CDs he had were like 90s rap, so like Dr. Dre, Eminem, stuff like that. So like I my my introduction to music was kind of all over the place. My mom was a big country fan, so uh, she was born and raised in Kentucky, so she's kind of that's just kind of in her blood is country music. So I have kind of an eclectic taste. Um, but yeah, so White Zombie, Rob Zombie was like the first like heavier band that I was introduced to as a kid. And from there, it just kind of snowballed into, what I'm doing now, which is, more like post-hardcore, metalcore type stuff. Um, my my stepdad kind of got me into, I guess, like heavier music in a sense. Growing up, I only knew Rob Zombie, White Zombie, Metallica, stuff like that until my stepdad came into my life. Then he got me into like Rage Against the Machine, Tool, Perfect Circle. Um, that first Disturbed record, I know that that band is kind of hit or miss for some people, but that first record was pretty eye opening for me. Limp Bizkit is another one. Um, Limp Bizkit is like probably still in my top five bands of all time. I've actually got another band that I'm in called Billmore Boys, which is a Limp Bizkit cover band. We just played the Blue Note a couple weeks ago. That's always a fun time. But yeah, man. So it just kind of all started with riding around my dad in my dad's truck, just those CDs on repeat.
Oh yeah, you had some good ones in there that I listen to those same bands and artists as well. Like that's That's that 90s 2000s nostalgia right there.
Oh yeah,
It sounds like your dad had great taste. What made you want to get into a
yeah.
band?
Um, so when YouTube was like, first rolling out, I had like kind of pseudo internet access. It was all dial up at the time. So you're sitting there waiting 10 minutes for, 1 2 minute video to play for you. But I would look up, these bands playing these songs live, and I would see, guys like Zach De La Roca from Rage Against the Machine, or Maynard James Keenan from Tool. The stage presence of these guys was like on just another level. Um, and watching that, I'm like, that's something that I want to be able to do at some point in my life. And I'm glad to have the chance and the opportunity to have done it for the last 13 years of my life.
Hmm. Man, like getting to see you at that show, like you've been like kill it, like for sure, because you were the second up, I believe, if I'm remembering right.
So we went. Kotora played first that
Okay.
night. We had our friends in Con Man Economy play right after us, and that's a band that I've been kind of married to, kind of in a way, for the last 10 years. One of my old bands, You Mean the American Dream. We kind of like grew up with Con Man Economy, playing shows like almost every weekend for like a year straight. So all those dudes are wonderful human beings and great musicians, and I'm glad that they're still doing their thing, and I'm still able to play shows with them, even though it's not in the same band as 10 years prior.
Yeah, but I definitely could tell from like all the songs that you played that night. Like it's about my bad. It's been a minute in my brain right now, but yeah, like I do remember you guys going up. I tried to get the crowd involved for sure, but it was like early on in the night, so people were just like everywhere. But you're just like, everybody, let's get fucking going. Let's come on, let's go. But
And
songs,
there's I don't care if there's 5 people in the crowd. I don't care if there's 200 people. I want everybody to have a good time. I want everybody to move around if they feel like moving around. It's I know it's kind of typical of the music style to be like, "Oh, let's fucking go, guys!" But it's just that type of music brings out the rowdiness in people, and that's something I like to see. And I like that crowd participation. It makes
yeah,
it easier for me on stage to give that energy back.
for sure. And I think with that, I think because it was like it was an all ages show, which I didn't know coming down. But like, have you guys go up first, and you just like up there, and then it's like you see like 10-year-olds and stuff walking around. I think people were just like, I don't know. But then once it got later
Right.
into the night, and then they all the kids left, it was like, all right, we can party now.
But it's cool that those kids' parents are bringing them out and exposing them to live music.
True.
I didn't go to my first show until I was 12, 13 years old, and I didn't even go with my parents. I rode up with some friends of mine that were you know almost seniors in high school,
Mm,
uh, and it warms my heart that those parents are bringing their kids out to experience something new, because that could plant a seed in those kids to be like, okay, that's something I want to do. And it perpetuates that next generation and brings that next generation out of the next heavy hitters for our scene.
yeah,
So
very true.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, they get to see the hard work paying off.
Exactly.
How long have you and your band been together?
So Kotora has been a thing for the last couple of years, I believe. Um, I am actually the second vocalist of the band.
Mm,
Um, so their prior vocalist, Brian, uh, wanted to step away to start a family, which I admire. You
yeah,
know, yeah, that's awesome that he, had the wherewithal to be like, okay, guys, I can't do this right now. You know, starting a family is more important to me, and that's awesome. Um, but with that happening, that kind of left them out, without a vocalist. And I remember seeing something on Facebook through a mutual friend of ours, Nathan Cook, who's actually the guitarist of Last American Cowboy, which is the band that I filled in for that night. Um, he had shared a post from our guitarist Josh, asking about, potential vocalists that would be interested in joining a band. And I had seen Kotora live at their first show, maybe a month prior to this Facebook post being put up. I was like, okay, these guys are awesome. And it was actually like a really different vibe with their previous vocalist Brian, because he's more of like an alternative rock kind of guy. So like no screaming, all singing. A lot of the stuff that they were playing at the time was a little softer. Um, they're still playing the same songs that we play now, but the songs have taken on a whole other life with me joining the band.
okay.
Um, like what I, I've I've been in bands since 2011, 2010. Um, and screaming and singing has always been my thing. So I told the guys when I joined in, I was like, I'm cool with keeping it, all clean vocals and all that. But if you guys ever feel like going heavier, just know I'm capable of doing that if that's something you guys are interested in. And almost immediately, all the guys are like, yeah, let's try this out. And it just kind of took on a whole other life from there. Um, so, kind of long story short, I've been in the band for a little over a year now.
All right.
Josh has had a lot of these songs written for the last 10 years. Um, the songs have changed over the last 10 years, obviously, but it's cool to see that, Josh has this vision and he's putting all he can into this vision to make it what he wants, regardless of how many times these songs change. You know, he's doing it in the vein of how can I make this better. So,
That's cool. Um, was it like an easy transition going into Couture?
yeah. So I drove up to Columbia one night. So I had reached out after that Facebook post. Got Josh's number, texted him. We texted back and forth for a couple nights, just kind of getting to know each other. Um, Drove up there and had lyrics written for one of our songs on our EP called Darklands. Um, and tried out those lyrics with them, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, no, this is what we want." And I pretty much told the guys, I was like, "Look, if you've got other people that you want to try out, that's totally cool. But I am down to join right here now if you guys want me to join. If you like what you're hearing, I'm down 100%. And that night, I was in the band, um, which felt pretty good for me to be able to, just go up there, do my thing, and you know, hop in a band full of just talented musicians.
Yeah, for sure. Just like what one night you just go into, I mean, I guess you can't even call it audition, but doing a song with them, and then next thing you know, you're right in something that you wanted to be in. So that's amazing. You talk about the writing process. What is the writing process for you guys?
A lot of the times it's Josh coming up with an idea, recording that idea, sending it out to everybody, kind of seeing what we think, what we feel like we could change, make better. Then we get in our practice space and we just kind of riff it out until we find something that we all agree on. Um, this is probably like the easiest writing process for a band that I've ever been in. Um, just because a lot of the times, Josh's ideas are pretty spot on the first try. Um, Little things may be tweaked here and there, but most of the time, Josh has the vibe pretty much set in stone with that first demo he sends out, which is cool because it makes it a lot easier for us to just get in the room, practice it, put some lyrics to it, and play it live. We've got, two or three songs in our rotation right now that we've been playing live or practicing on that aren't recorded. Um, but hopefully we'll have them recorded here within the next 5, 6 months. And we do all the recording in house too, so that makes it a lot easier. Um, we normally go to Josh's house and everybody tracks their stuff. Craig, our drummer, will he's got an electric drum kit at home, so he's able to record on his kit to his computer, send the file out to Josh. Josh is able to plug that in, and then I do my vocals in like a little closet set up in Josh's recording room.
Well, that's also cool because I think a lot more people are doing in-house recording when it comes to like bands. So the fact that you can just go out and just put out a bunch of like just record a bunch of songs and be like, all right, we did this, we need the drums, and then the fact that yeah, he has like your drummer has the electric to where he can just digitally do what he needs to do. Like that's solid because that way you can just crank out a project in no time.
Right. Instead of, trying to go through the process of finding somebody to record and produce your stuff, and maybe it doesn't sound the way you would like it to, but you've already paid that money. So, it's a lot better for us to just do it ourselves and tweak it to where we think it sounds good in our mind. Because ultimately, it's it's up to us whether we put this stuff out or not. And if we don't like it, we're not going to put it out.
Yeah. Well, even
I could
I'll
do
go.
what?
I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, I could show somebody a demo and they could be like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." But we could go back into our recording space and be like, I don't think this part is hitting the way we want it to. Let's tweak it a little bit. So just makes it a lot easier.
For sure. And what I was gonna say is like even like not even just you're able to clock the sound that you want, but you guys are also building a skill outside to where whenever you guys are like, all right, I'm not saying like we all break up or something, but it's like when y'all had enough success and it's just like y'all get to that point where it's like yeah, we can't be torn into stuff like that. Y'all have that background in making the music and stuff like that, so y'all can help out other bands later on.
Right, right.
You
And
know,
I'm not sure if that's something that Josh would ever be interested in doing, but I feel like he would kill that. Like we've got a lot of bands in the Columbia area that you know, have fantastic musicians, fantastic songs, and uh, if we can help in any way to help them put that stuff out without having to pay an arm and a leg, that would be fantastic. Because the more that the scene thrives and everybody else in the scene thrives, the better it is for everybody.
for sure. What have been would have been in your experience some of the highs and lows of being in bands?
um, so playing in bands since like I said, 2010, 2011. I've gone through a fair share of ups and downs. I think the highest point for me would probably be opening for the Acacia Strain back in 2018. Um, I was in a band called Bardock, which was like a beatdown hardcore band. The name was taken from Dragon Ball Z.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of our stuff was like very like caveman riffs, pretty much just beat people up type stuff. And it was a highlight and an honor for me to be able to open for a band like the Acacia Strain that I've been listening to since I was in middle school, and fantasizing about getting on stage with them, which I got to do. uh, I was watching side stage, and Vincent, the vocalist, um, waved me on. And I didn't ask for this. I was just singing along side stage. He pulled me on, and I got to do part of a song with them, and that was fantastic. Like that's still something that I go back and watch the video of, and relive. Um, the band that I was in that got to open that show. Uh, there was a lot of internal struggle, um, just because there was a certain member in the band that was making it difficult for everybody involved. Um, so hitting the highest of highs with that band, but also the lowest of lows, dealing with somebody that uh, couldn't control themselves in social settings, and just pretty much making an ass of themselves on a daily basis, and making it harder for the band to progress because of stuff like that. Um, you
Don't
know,
you don't you love that when people make asses of themselves?
oh yeah, it's my favorite.
Mm.
Um, but no, yeah, just dealing with that, dealing with drama queen like behavior. It just got to the point where I was like, I've had enough, guys. I gotta step out. Um, I was living with this certain band member. I was working with this certain band member, and I was in a band with him. So I was spending all my time around them.
Mm.
And that was very, very much a drain on my, mental energy.
Yeah, you were basically
So
in a
it just got to
relationship
the
with this
point where I had
person.
to step away. Pretty much, pretty much. And it sucked because this person, uh, did it in a way of like acting like a big brother to me. but it was just very toxic and not good for anybody involved. Um, the band ended up imploding on itself. All the members left except that certain member. Um, and now that band is nothing. Like I'm all about, treat people the way you want to be treated. And this person just could not get it together.
That's sad. It took one person to destroy a whole band, just being a douche.
Oh yeah. And is a band that was given a whole lot of opportunities uh, that probably shouldn't have been given because of that person, but this person was also a very big con artist and able to talk his way through life, um, which is good for being in a band, but also you have to be able to back that up, and he was not able to back that up.
Unfortunate, but you're in a better spot now.
Oh yeah, oh
Don't
yeah.
have the
I had stepped away from music for about 5 years after that whole thing. Um, I actually ended up moving to Kentucky and pursuing a professional wrestling career.
really.
I did that for a couple years. Yeah, so I've always been a huge pro wrestling fan. That's been my life since I was a kid. So it was one of those dreams where I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I have the time now to do it. Met a lot of cool people through it. Met a lot of people that I grew up watching, which was insane for me. And I can tell people that I've done everything that I've wanted to do in life.
Hell yeah.
Right now, whatever I do after this is just icing on the cake.
How far did you get?
So I never got past like the independent circuit. I worked I worked shows in Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, um, and COVID kind of screwed everything up.
Hmm.
Um, because the year that I moved to Kentucky, there was like a 6 month period of me training. This was like the summer of 2019. And then by the time I started having matches 2 or 3 months in, whole world shuts down. There's no shows going on. I was having to train in secret because, Kentucky at the time, I mean, kind of everybody at the time was told to stay home. If you didn't have to be out, don't go out. But I had moved there to chase my dream, and I was trying to do everything I could to keep that dream going. And it was just a difficult time period. Ended up moving back to Missouri. Had a few matches after that, but haven't had a match since 2021. So kind of like on a unspoken hiatus, retirement type thing. But
Are you looking to get
still,
back
I
out there?
can um eventually, but also I'm getting older. My body's not going to hold up the way it did 5 years ago. Um, I've had some health issues since then. So like if I do get back in the ring, great. If I don't, that's fine with me too because I did it. I did what I wanted to do. And nobody can take that away from me.
Very true. Well, yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. I mention it way too much on my radio show and with certain interviews I've done with people.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Oh
nothing
no,
wrong with
not,
that.
not at all. But when about like 10, 15 minutes of an interview is just talking about wrestling, I'm pretty sure people are just like, why are they talking about this? This is supposed to be about music, and they're talking about wrestling.
Hey man, like I mean, wrestling and music are, intertwined.
Very,
Um,
especially with rock, like music in general,
right.
yes, but with like rock because like a lot of new metal was used for wrestling, a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
metal and
A lot of
rock.
the a lot of the bands that I've, came to love, I found out through pro wrestling. The Dillinger Escape Plan, one of my favorite bands. They were on the SmackDown versus Raw 2006 soundtrack,
Yeah.
and that was like my first experience of like, that band, and I'm like, I got to search out more of this band. Um, or like Limp Bizkit,
Hmm.
that iconic, WrestleMania 17
Yeah.
promo package between The Rock and Stone Cold with My Way. Like that is burned into my brain.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely feel that like I got into non-point and downstate because of wrestling and like the video games and WWE and AEW and all the other different ones. Like just you get hyped because like all the intro music, like when it had Marilyn Manson or they had Shinedown with Enemies. It had Green Day. They had Nickelback, which everybody for some reason weirdly hates Nickelback, and I guess now it's like oh, I. So I actually asked because my first interview I ever did for the show was with a band out in Canada, and I asked them why do they get so much hate, and apparently it's just because they get overplayed, and like when they got big, apparently in Canada, you have to play, I forgot the percentage, how much percentage of like Canadian music they had to play. And apparently it was
Hmm.
just Nickelback crazy, especially around that time. So it was just like nonstop Nickelback.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but like I love Nickelback. I don't care what anyone says. Like I know people say like their songs all sound the same. I'm just like, even if it does, to me it sounds good.
Hey man, like everybody's got that guilty pleasure.
Mhm.
Creed is mine. I like un unironically, I do love Creed
Yeah.
because that's a band that I just grew up listening to with my parents, and they were also intertwined with
Oh
wrestling,
yeah.
so it's all a nostalgia thing.
Well, see, I feel like Creed gets leeway because they know what they want it to be,
Yep.
and it's like, yeah, I know everybody makes fun of them, whatever. Well, not everybody makes fun of them, but just whatever the thing is with Creed. But they're still like a legitimate, like great band.
Oh
With
yeah.
with Nickelback, I don't know if it's the hate on the band or if it's the hate on Chad. I'm not sure. It's just weird. It's just like hate
Now,
for hate's sake.
I will say from like, 2005 to like 2010, uh, I think I heard Rockstar on the radio at least 40 times a day.
Yeah.
So I can maybe understand the hate for that song. But they're still a hardworking band. You can't take that away from them.
Man, did that song
They
come out
they've
in
always
2005?
done what they wanted to do, and like you can't take that away from them.
For sure. Man, now you got me thinking, did that song come out in 2005? Because I remember it like '07 for some reason.
I just kind of guessed '05. I feel like it was around that time period.
Yeah, that feels like '07, '08-ish in my brain because I was like in middle school when that song came out.
Yeah.
Still remember seeing like the debut of it on MTV.
Yeah.
Going back to writing process, what are some things that inspire you and the boys?
Um, Video games are a big inspiration for us. We've got our newest Kotora logo is inspired by Doom.
Mm.
Um, and that's just something that we all played as kids. Uh, our our guitarist Josh is like very much into like the old style computer games. Um, like a lot of our songs are references, song title names are references to those old style games. So I'd say video games are pretty much a huge inspiration for us. Um, Movies as well. Uh, just any sort of media outside of music itself is an inspiration for us.
Oh, yeah. Uh, I have been getting a lot of like video games when it comes to like bands getting their inspiration. What movies kind of go into like your music?
Um, The Thing, um, like that's a big one. The lyrics for our song "Not Enough Time Units" are based off that movie. Um, the lyrics to our song "Fiends Are Loose Upon the Nighttime Streets." Those lyrics are kind of based off the movie Twilight, um, which I'm sure people will be like, "Twilight, that's random as hell." Um, but our other guitarist AJ, he helps me write the lyrics, and he's a big Twilight fan, um, just vampire fan in general. Um, so he came up with some lyrics, sent them to me, and they've just fell right in place.
Uh, Oh yeah, everybody has their taste in music and well, no, sorry, not taste in taste in movies. There's nothing wrong with Twilight. I've seen Twilight. The first one isn't bad. The it varies on the other ones in the series.
Right. I'm a big fan of the first movie. I was in middle school when it came out,
Mhm.
and I was like, a little emo kid in middle school. So like that was a big thing for us back then was to, quote Twilight or watch Twilight with our significant others.
Mhm.
Um, so
Um, what are some like other band influences that go into your writing process?
um, I would say it's kind of all over the place for us. We all kind of have our own influences that we bring to the table. Josh is a huge fan of Story of the Year. Um, he's also a huge fan of Seiyusen and Circus Survive. Um, our bassist Matt is pretty influenced by like Suicidal Tendencies,
Mm.
Faith No More, stuff like that. Um, AJ, our other guitarist, his influences are probably more like Every Time I Die, um, stuff like that. Uh, Craig, our drummer, he's got a pretty big, he's got a wide uh, variety of influences as well. He's actually the ex drummer of Shaman's Harvest. Um, so he's got a lot of touring experience and like has played with a lot of heavy hitters. Got to see a lot of stuff over his time with Shaman. Um, like I don't know if you remember the song "Broken Dreams," which is Drew McIntyre's other theme
Yes.
song.
Yes.
So Shaman's Harvest wrote "Broken Dreams."
Oh shit.
So like he's got some credits to his name. Um, but yeah, his musical influences are kind of all over the place. Mine are kind of all over the place. I listen to a lot of heavy stuff, but I also listen to a lot of soft stuff. Um, right now, I've been pretty influenced by this Canadian band called the Tragically Hip. They're kind of like um, they're kind of like REM style, 90s rock, 2000s rock. Um, the band Super Heaven. I've been super into them lately. Um, I'm also a big Every Time I Die fan. Like that was a band that I grew up loving. I've seen them more times than I can count. Um, but yeah, our musical influences are kind of all over the place. But I think that's what kind of helps bring everything together. Is we all have these different parts of us that we are able to bring to the table and make Kotora what it is. Um, like AFI is a huge inspiration for me. Um, and I try to bring a little bit of Davey Havoc into some of the Kotora songs. Um, but yeah,
That's cool. Y'all got a wide range of genres and different artists and bands to go through, so that always works. When you're not rocking out on stage, what are you doing in your free time?
playing a lot of video games, working, um, hanging out with my dogs, hanging out with my fiance, spending time with my family. Um, I don't really do a whole lot of like going out and
Mm.
stuff like that. I did that a lot when I was younger. I feel like an old man now, sitting at home all the time. But this is where I feel comfortable, and I like just chilling out in my little nostalgia room. Can't see right now because I've got this background everywhere.
Mm.
But I have my entire room here. I call it the nostalgia room. It's all filled with posters of bands, posters of pro wrestlers. I've got, over 60, 70 boxed wrestling figures. Um, I've got two CRT TVs right in front of me for my
Mm.
old school gaming stuff. Got my PS2 hooked up to it. Got my Sega Dreamcast hooked up to another one. Got my Xbox over here in the corner. I've got an electronic drum kit right behind me because I also play drums. Um, so yeah, pretty much I just spend my free time at home and chilling out and vibing out.
Oh yeah. I know. Hopefully next time I'm in Colombia, we can hang out and we can play some video games.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm all for that. Like, if you ever in the area, hit me up.
I'm 4 hours away. I can drive out there.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
They hit you up, be like, I'm about to make that drive. I'm bringing White Castle.
Oh yeah, bring me that White Castle, man.
That's something else I talk way too much about is White Castle because I can't get it as often as I want to. Like I think that
Man,
week I think that
like
week,
I
sorry, I think that weekend I probably had well, not, I think just in that day alone, I probably had White Castle 5 times
yeah, my guts would be wrecked after that.
because I I had some when I got into town to get to my hotel. I went there later, I think that night, and then I grabbed some to go. when I was coming back home, and I think oh yeah, I went to Chicago and got it too. So yeah, within a weekend, I had it 5 times. Insane.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I used to live in California and In and Out was my thing. Like I would kill to go back right now and grab some In and Out. Like if I had an In and Out near me, I would be grabbing it for probably 5, 6 times a day.
I haven't had In-N-Out. I need to try it because In-N-Out is the one where it was like it's like animal style fries and stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
Because it's like shoestring fries or something. But
Yeah, it's like the shoestring fries and then they've got this it's almost kind of like a Thousand Island sauce, but not. Um, it's like that mixed with a Mac, like a Big Mac sauce
mm,
over the fries, cheese, chopped onions. Delicious.
mm,
I always got the double double, which is a double cheeseburger, and then the animal style fries and a shake.
mm. Whenever I'm over on the West Coast, I'm gonna have to try some In-N-Out because I've never had it.
Yeah, if you get the opportunity to, it's definitely worth checking out.
Uh,
Um, I would say it's way better than Whataburger if you've ever had Whataburger.
I haven't. I have a story about the Waterburg.
What's that?
All right, so I worked for this company to where like we went door to door and like looked at people's like windows and roofs and stuff like that, and would have knock on the door, be like, "Hey, we're with such and such." Like, I'm not gonna say the name. I would, but they because I don't care, but they'd probably sue me. I'm like, "Hey, I'm with blah blah blah. We noticed that your shingles or your siding, whatever, it's a little out of date." And I had to like write people's names down and like get their information. Like we had to get so many in a day, and we went from Kansas into like Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and we were out there like all day. And so
Hmm.
like we really didn't have like a lunch break. It was like my manager would like pick us up in like the bus and we just go take like a piss break, and then we could like either buy food at like the gas station or had to bring stuff with us. So me and this other girl who like just started, like we're starving. And we passed a Whataburger, and because what my manager asked us where we want to go to eat, and we were like Whataburger. You know, she was like Whataburger. I was like, what's so good about it? And she kept like raving about this honey butter biscuit or something. I was like, well, damn,
Hmm.
I gotta check this out. I think a honey butter chicken biscuit. I was like, damn, let's go check it out. Let's go to Whataburger. And he goes to fill up for gas, and like right across the street is Whataburger, and he decides not to go. And he was like, "Oh, we got to get back into town." Blah 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 blah. And so me and her are pissed because it's like, yo, we've been outside all day in the like in the cold because this is like November.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, like I'm getting yelled at by people to get out their property. I'm getting doors shoved in my face. You know, probably walked like a couple miles that entire time, and now I can't get food. So I'm like, we pissed. So then we passed this other, I think it was like another like gas station that's got a McDonald's attached to it. So it was like, yeah, well, I gotta use the bathroom. He pulls over, we get out. Actually did have to go use the bathroom, but I went and bought some McDonald's, and then we came back in. He was like, "Hey, did you guys fall in?" It was like, "Nope." And then he saw us with the McDonald's. He was like, "Ah." And then he tried to give us some sad ass excuse. It was like, "Oh, I know I promised you this, but we had to get back into town because this and that and blah blah blah." I'm just like, you could have stopped. You could have stopped.
Yeah, it was right across the street, man.
Yeah. I'm like, an extra 10, 15 minutes. Really, like, you couldn't have just stopped just so we can get food. You wanted to get back into town because you had to be here early in the morning. And that's on you, man. You. Like it's stuff that you need to do. You got to figure that out yourself. But hey, if we haven't eaten anything all day and nobody told us to bring a lunch and stuff like that, it's just, hey, you got to get on the bus. We got to go here. I'm thinking we're gonna stop because other people who drove us, we stopped and got food.
Right. Yeah, that would have pissed me off.
Oh, I quit the next day. I was like,
There you
fuck this
go.
job. I was like, fuck this job. Like I already don't like people as it is, which is crazy because of what my line of work is now. Like I hate people,
Right.
and you got me walking door to door on people's like to people's houses, and I've seen some crazy stuff happen.
I would imagine.
But let's get off that because that's just gonna be in my mind if I keep keep thinking about. If you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be?
Um, Probably Davey Havoc from AFI or Colin Young from Twitching Tongues. Um, both of those guys are huge influences for me vocal wise. Um, I obviously I do not have the range of a Davey Havoc, um, but you know his stage presence, his just commitment to making AFI what it is. That is just something that is uh, drove me to want to stay in music and want to be in a band. And then Colin Young from Twitching Tongues, dude is like one of the hardest workers in the music scene today. Um, vocalist of Twitching Tongues, he writes a lot of their stuff. He's the drummer of the band God's Hate. Um, he's in another band with his brother called Dead Body, which is kind of like a death metal ish band. I know he's got other projects as well. But just the dedication to the craft is what inspires me the most.
Yeah, David with AFI. Like I went back to listen to like their older stuff, and yeah, it is very just loud screaming with just heavy guitar and drums in the back. Like I actually played I think it's the Leaving Song Part 2 yesterday on the show, and it
Yep.
was just like it is good stuff, but yeah, he hits a certain level of like scream and growl, and just like, okay, we are here to party.
Yeah, that whole album, Sing the Sorrow, is just an absolute masterpiece. Um, I just got the rest of my AFI tattoo finished up on Wednesday.
Mm.
Um, and it's kind of like an amalgamation of three different albums. I've got the ship from um, God, and then now I'm blanking out. Uh, Black Sails in the Sunset. That's what the album's called. Um, so I've got the ship from that. I've got the circle with the leaves falling down from Sing the Sorrow. And the color scheme on that circle is also the color scheme from The Art of Drowning. So it's kind of like three albums in one tattoo. Um, and like I said, that band is just a huge influence on me. Um, and that is an artist that I would love to collaborate with if I ever had the chance to, even if it's just talking to Davey and getting a couple pointers on like vocal style and stuff like that. That would be enough for me to be like, okay,
I mean,
Like
even
I've
doing a
seen the
song
face of
together.
God. I've touched him, and this is yeah,
I mean, you two doing a song together, that'd be monumental because
yeah. I would love to do something like that, but you know, he's a very busy man, and we're kind of small potatoes compared to AFI, obviously. But if the chance ever comes, I would hop on that in a heartbeat.
you never know. Like I said, hard work pays off, and you guys got the talent for sure. Like not even trying to
Thank you,
not trying to kiss your ass and like that. Like truly, you guys have the fucking talent from what I've
thank
experienced.
you.
Um,
The show that you saw us at, that's only our fifth show. Um, like fifth show as a band in
yeah,
whole. We don't play very often. Uh, but we've been told multiple times by people in the scene or people that just come out to watch live music in general. Uh, you know, we get a lot of compliments on our live shows, which is uh, sometimes overwhelming for me because I'm somebody who's pretty hard on myself. I mess up one tiny little bit and I'm like, this sucks. I probably sound like garbage. But then I get off stage and I have, you know, six, seven people come up to me and be like, dude, you sounded fantastic. You guys are getting better every single show. So that feels good to hear. Sometimes hard for me to hear it just because I don't always believe it, just because, again, very hard on myself. But it's nice to get those compliments from your peers and people that you look up to as well.
I definitely get it. Like you love the art and you want it to be perfect. Like I had the same conversation with a band last week where it's like you we are so conditioned. I feel like we are around the same age, but I think growing up with us, like things had to be like perfect before doing anything. Like had to be practiced and rehearsed or whatever. No matter what it is, whether it is music, whether it is sports, whatever, like you had to make sure everything was perfect. And now with
Yep.
things being like, it doesn't have to be as perfect, but the fact that you get up on stage and you have to hit certain cues and gotta hit this note and whatever like that, like you want to make sure you are like doing everything to have a great show. And then in your mind, you're just going, ah, fuck, I missed this, or this happened, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, you did great, and you're getting that validation after you get off stage because people are just like, "Yo, that was amazing," blah blah blah. So it definitely takes a while to like get out of your head and enjoy it more.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm actively working on. I'm a big proponent in taking care of your mental health, and that's just part of it. You know, Coming to realize that everything doesn't have to be perfect. Just because we were conditioned that way as kids and growing up, doesn't mean that has to be the way it is forever. And it's just rewriting that part of my brain to be like, it is okay to be imperfect because nobody is perfect.
Yeah,
There is no human being on the face of this planet or that has ever existed, regardless of what anybody says, that has ever been perfect.
yeah.
So
It's
it's
all about
just
the hard work.
exactly.
Uh,
And like, even with like you know, imperfections on stage, the crowd 9 times out of 10, they do not catch that. So you could say, "Oh, I messed up 3 or 4 times." They have no clue.
yeah,
As long as you keep that show going and you keep that same energy going, they're still gonna fucking love it.
They just feeding off the energy.
Right.
But yeah, that this is very fitting considering the fact it is not only is it Pride Month, but it is men's mental health awareness. And so yeah, like that's something for us, like for everybody, but it generally for men to just we are so in our heads about things. It
Hmm.
because of how we grew up or how we are wired, or whatever. It is trying to basically rebuild our mind and ourselves to where it's like, all right, this has happened. I just gotta let it go. Or just
Take
like,
that time to process it. Take that time to process it and just move on the best you can.
yeah. Like you said, even if you do mess up, it's like, hey, I know what to do next time. Like not beating yourself up about it right then and there. Because I
Right.
did like bought it like 99% of the time, like you said, the crowd does not know what happened. You just notice it. Or if it is that 1% where like the crowd notices it, they probably still don't care because it's just like, oh, maybe they meant to do that type of thing.
Right. Like when I filled in for Last American Cowboy the night that you saw us,
Hmm.
um, I ended up saying the same verse on one song that I had already sang, and uh, in my head, as it was happening, I was like, "Ah, shit!" Like I just fucked all this up, but it still sounded good. Uh, really, nobody noticed, and also it was me filling in for somebody.
Yeah.
So, just the fact that, I took that leap and was like, yeah, I'll learn these 5 songs, you know, to the best of my abilities
Hmm.
and, do it in a way that still services the music. Um, you know, imperfections are gonna be there, and
Because how much time did you
it
have?
doesn't matter. So I think I had like 3 or 4 practices with the guys before that show. Um, and a lot of those songs, there's like odd time signature stuff. They like I said, they have 2 vocalists, twin brothers,
Mm.
who have an insane vocal range. So I'm trying to put my own spin on it and doing the job of 2 people in one. Um, so I'd say I did a pretty good job for being one person and doing the job of 2 people.
Yeah, you definitely killed it, man, for sure. Like I would have been terrified if I had to do that. And
Oh,
I've
I
had
mean, I was an anxious wreck that night. That's for sure. But like I said earlier on in the interview, it's all for the love of the game. Like I love making music. I love helping out my friends. So like I'm glad I was able to do that for them.
for sure like that. That's that community coming together.
Exactly.
All right. Um, what is your Mount Rushmore of rock?
Mount Rushmore of rock. Um, Now, are we talking about bands or specific people in these bands?
Any of them. It could
Any
be
of
an
them?
artist, it can be a full band. It's your personal preference.
So I would say Anthrax.
Ooh,
Um, I'm a huge 80s thrash guy. Anthrax was my shit growing up. Um, so Anthrax, AFI, um, Every Time I Die, and hmm, This last one's going to be a doozy because I feel like I'm going to be missing something that I actually wanted in there.
I do it all the time. Trust me. This is what
I'd say Limp Bizkit then. Those are my four.
hell yeah. I talk going back to our talk about the hated bands. I don't understand why Limp Bizkit gets hate. Like I
It's
think they're
it's because it's because of the persona that Fred Durst had put on throughout the late '90s and early 2000s. Like people were just
mm,
rubbed the wrong way, but like everybody in that band is so fucking talented, no matter what anybody says.
mm,
Wes Borland is an insane guitarist.
yes.
John Otto is a fantastic drummer. DJ Lethal, he's from House of Pain. Like that dude has done so much. Um, Sam Rivers, the bassist, phenomenal bassist, brings his own flavor to the band. And Fred Durst is just, an anomaly. Uh, that dude has been the face of new metal since were since they first came out, pretty much. So like, I don't think the hate is warranted. Um, you know, at as somebody that grew up listening to the band and watched the band unfold to what it is now, like I'm glad they're getting this like renaissance period of like, okay, maybe we were wrong about Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like they're bigger now than they were, back in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Possibly. Yeah. I wonder if Zach still hates them.
I feel like Rage Against the Machine. I see where some of their issues come from, but also like I don't know, man. I don't think the hate is warranted.
No.
You know, it's not like Fred Durst is going out around and just saying awful, terrible things like some people in the music scene.
Yeah.
Ronnie Radke mainly.
I don't follow the stuff from like Ronnie. Like I know some stuff, but not a lot. The fact that he was with Paige or Soraya,
Hmm.
which apparently I don't think they're together anymore now.
Nope.
It's insane. Like apparently he's just not a good person. I know he's like trying to like call out other people in like the rock scene for being s- things, which I don't know. Like it's good, but I'm like I don't know. I really don't know
Yeah,
how to comment on that.
I personally think the dude is a douchebag, but I'm one person in a sea of millions of people.
Man,
I know he's got his fans, and that's fine that they like that type of music or whatever. Just not my thing. And I think Ronnie Radke is an absolute loser. But again, that's one man's opinion. A guy that is still a local yokel playing local shows.
I mean it is a thing where they say like you gotta separate the artist from the music. I've heard some of the band stuff. It's cool. But if he's that much of just an asshole, then I mean you can't change somebody for being an asshole.
Yeah, I don't do well with any sort of like homophobia, transphobia, none of that.
No.
Um, so I've pretty much written that dude off completely.
Yeah, you can't. you can't be doing that, and like you probably have a certain percentage of fans who are in that community. So yeah,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He's alienating his own fans by spewing hatred, but he still somehow makes a ton of money. So,
that's so stupid. But all right, let's get off the Rodney Radke thing. Uh, what has been what has been your favorite place to perform, and where would you like to perform?
um, my favorite place to perform has probably been the Blue Note. Um, I've had the chance to play there the last 3 years, um, and just I it's a venue I grew up going to as a middle school, high school kid, and catching some crazy shows there. So to be able to stand on that same stage and have the chance to sell it out a couple times
Hmm.
has been, a dream come true in itself. Um, like I never thought I would be in a band that would sell out shows, but I've played three sold out shows in the last couple years, and that's all I've ever wanted out of music is just to play to a room full of packed people that are there for the same thing.
Now, I'm not really too familiar of the Blue Note. What is the vibe? Like, how big is it?
Um, so I have you ever been to like the Ready Room?
I haven't. So
Uh, so
I'm in Illinois, so I'm not too familiar with like Missouri stuff.
so there's a balcony in the Blue Note.
Mhm.
So there's like side tables on the side, and then there's like theater type seating.
Okay.
Um, and then there's the floor level, which is a huge space. Um, and then you've got the stage, obviously, which is also a huge stage. Um, it's a almost like an old school theater looking venue,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like um, not theater as in like movie theater, but like
No, I get you. Is
classical
it
theater.
is it kind of like, I guess, like the Apollo, like in like New York, where it has
A
like,
little bit. Yeah, kind of a similar setup there.
okay, yeah, okay, that would be a really cool place to like sell out and have a band. Yeah. Where would you like to like perform? Like, where you guys, like when
Um,
go.
for me, I would personally like to perform at Chain Reaction in Anaheim, California.
That is the second.
Um,
You are the second person who have mentioned that.
it's a legendary venue, man. When I lived in California, I got to catch a show there, and it's it's a smaller kind of venue,
Mm,
but you know it embodies that DIY like hardcore post hardcore like vibe. So that's just I don't know. It's just one of those places that I would love to just pack a room full of people in and fucking rock out.
oh yeah. Yeah, I had another band last week. They talked about Chain Reaction because they said like a lot of legends played in that room.
Yep.
And it's like, nice. So yeah, gotta get you two together.
Oh hell yeah.
I can see the info after the interview. Uh, all right, last question, and this is always the hardest. Whether you are at home or you are out of town, where's your favorite place to get food?
Hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna be real basic here and say Taco Bell. I'm a Taco Bell fiend, man. Like you give me that $5 box or that $7 box, and
Yeah.
I'm happier than a pig in shit.
All right. Now, do you have like, because I kind of have like different hierarchies when it comes to it. So you got like I have like the cheat meal, the I got a little bit of money to spend meal, and then ball out. Like, do you kind of have that, or is it just like $5, $7 box, whatever?
I normally so I'm autistic, so I have like kind of like a fixation on things
Mm.
most of the time. So like any restaurant I go to that I've been to before, I normally get the same thing
Okay.
just because I know I like it. Um, like change is very, very difficult for me. Um, so like I normally just go ahead and do the $5 or the $7 box because it's almost always the same thing. You get the drink, which I normally get a Baja Blast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just classic Taco Bell right there.
True.
Um, and then normally you get the $5 burrito or like the 5 layer burrito in there, uh, a crunchy taco, and then it's like either a chalupa or a gordita,
Mm.
and I'm cool with both of those. So like, and then you get the cinnamon twist sometimes with it too. Like it's just it's the perfect combination.
Yeah. Now there are some times I'll switch out the twist for just the chips and cheese.
There you go. Or those have you had the Cinnabon delights?
I haven't had those because they're like weirdly expensive for some reason.
Yeah. They used to not be. They used to be on the like dollar menu or whatever that they had,
Hmm.
but this was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, if you ever get a chance to try them, it's if you get them hot and fresh, they're fire.
I'll have to try them one day. I still haven't tried the nuggets.
Man, I don't trust Taco Bell with making chicken nuggets. No offense to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Like I probably will not try those just because I'm like I don't go to Taco Bell for chicken nuggets. I go to Taco
Mhm.
Bell for a 5 layer burrito and some crunchy tacos.
So you never go outside of like the box, like, well, I guess you never have like that indulgence of like I'm just gonna get some chalupas or gorditas or just get like a bunch of burritos.
Uh, I mean, if I get a wild hair up my ass sometimes, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I'm just getting the same thing.
Oh,
Or if my fiance tries something different and she's like, "Hey, I think you might like this," I'll take a bite of it and be like, "Okay, all right, I'll get that next time."
because yeah, like I have those indulgences. That's why I was kind of saying like the different tiers. Because yeah, if I'm broke and it's got like a couple bucks, then yeah, I'm going off the $3 or less menu. Like I'm getting like
Hmm.
I'm getting two cheesy double beef burritos. If I got some money in my pocket, I'll get a box or I'll get the Doritos Locos tacos. Or if I know I got some money, like I'm getting chalupas. I'm getting like four chalupas.
Hell yeah.
It is like I'm getting
Yeah, my old pop punk band, we used to hit Taco Bell like super late at night after practice and get the like the cravings case or whatever,
yep.
or it had like the 10 soft tacos, 10 hard tacos or whatever, and just slam that shit.
Yeah, I miss those days where it was like $12 for that thing. Now it's like
Oh yeah. Now
$20.
it's like yeah, it was like $22 or something like that.
Yeah, for 12 tacos. I'm just like, yo, this probably doesn't even cost you that much.
Hell no. It's all about making that money though, man.
Oh yeah. Like I could see because I know they have the one where it's like the Doritos Locos box. That one I can see being more money.
Right.
But just some hard shell or some soft shell tacos, man. Like put them in the box. You even put them in a box. You can put them in a bag if you get in the soft shell ones. Like they can just give
Right.
you a decent sized bag and just go like, here you go. But them things that they should just be $1 each.
It's like I can go home and make 20 of these for $5.
Literally.
Maybe not $5 now, but
I mean it you get enough meat. Let's see, enough meat, tortillas, cheese, lettuce, whatever. You're probably looking at like probably $20, but then you'd still have a lot more to make tacos with. You'd have a lot
oh
more to
yeah. Oh
spend
yeah.
there. Like the meat would be like the most expensive thing.
Right. All the rest of that stuff, well, a majority of it, you can go to Dollar Tree and get that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Taco Bell's the spot for sure.
Yeah, that after all this talking about Taco Bell, I might have to get some after this is done.
Well, hey, we basically done now. So appreciate you. Want to let everybody know where they can find you.
We're on Facebook, Instagram. We're on all streaming platforms, so Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, all that. We've got some new stuff coming out hopefully later on this year, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh yeah, definitely be looking out for that. Um, you can always find me on Instagram at D Jaxxyn. That is JAXXYN dot TMD for the Midnight Drive. Follow me on Twitch at D underscore Jaxxyn, trying to get those followers up and get engagement. You can watch me while I'm live on the radio. Leave comments, leave a request. But good to have you on. I think we're
Oh
both
yeah,
gonna go
dude.
get some Taco Bell. So,
Thanks for having me on, man. This is a lot of fun.
yeah.
I've never done like an interview for a band I've been in, so this is my first one, and I appreciate you doing this.
Well, definitely got to have you on again, man. But all right,
Hell yeah,
everybody,
dude.
this is James with Kotora. This has been Damien Jaxxyn. Live long and rock on. We're out.
Later, y'all.